on the next Too Blessed to Be Stressed television show. Too Blessed to Be Stressed begins a special series of episodes as we look at addictions. Drugs, pornography, food, shopping, workaholics. They're all addictions, and all of them are dangerous and damaging to ourselves and those around us. Too Blessed to Be Stressed looks into the temptations, causes, traps, and escapes from the addictions that plague our lives.
This has been one of the most interesting shows that we've aired here on the Too Blessed to Be Stressed television show. Last month we talked with the residents in New Orleans concerning Katrina, the hurricane, and how it devastated their lives. For the next few weeks here on the Too Blessed to Be Stressed, we will be talking about addictions of all kinds. Cyber sex, internet sex, pornography, food addictions, drug addiction, work addictions, and all the above. This week, we will be talking with a mother who has given us her perspective of what drugs, the addiction of drugs, will do and can do to not only the child, but the whole family. Shirley, it is such a pleasure to be able to interview you today for the Too Blessed to Be Stressed TV show. What a beautiful day and a beautiful park out here at Imes Nature's Park. Have you been here before?
No, it's
the
first
lovely.
time.
It rained earlier today. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank
I know
you.
The viewing audience is like, who is this lady? Tell our viewing audience who Shirley Gribble is.
Well, I am just a married lady with
Housewife.
5 children, housewife with 5 children, and work just a little outside the home.
Yeah.
But we live in Clinton. That's where we've reared all 5 of our boys. Got 5 boys.
Right.
And, you know, just stay at home mom, just very simple life.
Yeah. And you've got 5 boys?
Yes,
Now, how long have you all, your family, been in Clinton?
We've been in Clinton about 21 years.
Ooh, long time.
Yes.
Well, you know, Shirley, our series, we're doing a series on addiction, all kind of addictions, sexual addictions, drug addictions, gambling addictions, food addictions. But this segment, we're talking about drug addictions. And who would better know about drug addictions and life has been affected than you? Let's start from the beginning. Your oldest son, Matt. How did it begin with him and his drug life?
Well, Matt was a very gentle young man, very successful, did extremely well in school, got involved with several people just out of compassion. He was a leader, was very caring, but kind of got sucked into the drug scene.
So overall, he was a good boy.
Oh,
he
yes.
was a boy raised in church, I know that.
Yes.
So statistics states that Matt should have never did drugs.
Should never.
It
never.
begun, then what happened?
Well, we probably from about 19, because he went all the way through high school, stayed very clean, and about 19, he had a failure in a relationship and thought that he would be married. And he struggled with that, and the girl had got into drugs. So to keep a relationship going, he got involved. And then when it broke up, it was just too much for him. And just through depression and other things, he got involved.
What are the drugs that Matt started on? What are some of the drugs?
Just a little drinking, you know, smoking a little marijuana, and, you know, that was the drug. Yeah, that was the thing. And he thought he could handle it. And
don't we all?
Yeah, everybody thinks we can do it. Won't hurt us. And then it got a grip on him that he couldn't shake. And
so he started with the gateway drugs, which is marijuana and drinking, progressed to pills.
Okay. And just the shame and the anguish. He was trying to run from what he had done. He felt like he was a failure, a
Couldn't share it with
disappointment.
anyone. That's going over the bridge. Yeah. Couldn't share it with anyone.
No, and you know, he didn't know how to get out. He wanted out and really didn't know how. And it took him down a road that he didn't plan to go on, and he sure didn't plan to stay.
That's true. That's true.
So,
okay, so we're through with marijuana. We're through with drinking. We progress on to pills. What was the hardest thing, the hardest drug that Matt, that you know, experienced with?
probably Oxycontin.
Oxycontin, that's the thing. Now, the last 5 years, that has become the drug of choice for a lot of young people. What did Oxycontin lead him to?
Probably separation from family. And family ties were very, well, we've just always been very family-oriented.
Yeah.
And Matthew was our oldest child.
Right.
And he was a leader with his peers and with his brothers.
Right.
And just feeling, I mean, he was devastated because he had failed. He had failed at being someone his brothers could look up to. He had failed at being what he thought we expected.
Right.
And that was the hardest thing for him. And then he wanted to separate himself and alienate himself from us.
Yeah, because of the shame.
Yeah, and it made him feel like he wasn't one of us, that he had lowered his standard. Had a real hard time accepting himself. Although we forgave him, we were there for him. We never abandoned him. And it caused a lot of anger from his other brothers.
Right.
And, you know, and kids are going to be kids. They didn't go through life perfect either.
That's true. That's true.
But unlike Matt, they never did anything that they got trapped in. And he's doing well today, very well.
How do you, as a mother, how did your heart as a mother feel through all of this?
Shattered, broken, hopeless, helpless. And, you know, it was a time that we just really had to depend on God, because we could not have made it without the Lord.
And the longer it goes,
the easier it gets. You just accept where you are. You accept that this has happened to you, and you just go to Him and depend on guidance, depend on His peace, His grace.
If you could look in that camera, and there's thousands of women, men and women, families, that are experiencing the brokenness and the pain that you and your husband experienced. If there's any words of encouragement you could give them, I ask you to look into that camera, and for the mother's heart who's broken, what would you say to encourage them today?
Well, there is hope, and you're going to have to put your hope in God the Father, depend on Him, not become angry or embittered because you expect somebody to do something, whether it be God, whether it be your spouse, whether it be the person that's addicted. You want somebody to do something. And it's just something they have to work through. They have to come to the end of themselves. And there are no quick fixes. There's no quick answers. It's a day-by-day, moment-by-moment struggle. And it is a struggle.
That's true.
It's a struggle. And it's just love. You have to remain in love no matter what happens, yet be firm. And just wait. It's a waiting game. It's just a wait. Just pray, hang in, and wait. Just love your baby. Love your baby regardless of what they do. And just wait.
Shirley, would you not say that this experience would be one of the most stressful experiences that you as a mother and wife has experienced in your life?
Oh, yes, because prior to this happening to my family, I thought it was the most horrible thing for a family to separate or for someone to get out and use suicide as a means. Yeah. But now I fully understand to abandon ship and let everybody sink would have been the easiest thing for me to do. Or just to go blow my brains out. Just end it. Just because you so seek peace. And yeah, the escape from pain. you're willing to do anything. And had God not been part of our lives, we couldn't have done it.
I'd like to thank Miss Shirley Gribble from Clinton, Tennessee, for sharing with us her experience. When we come back, we'll be talking with Dr. Centers at the Brookhaven Retreat in Seymour. You don't want to miss it. Well, Dr. Center, it is such a pleasure to be able to be here at the Brookhaven Retreat. Tell the viewing audience, who is Dr. Center?
I am the medical director that does all the medical evaluations, seeing that they're in the best of health to start their recovery process,
Right.
seeing if they have any health problems that may cause problems with their trying to get sober.
So, Dr. Center, tell me a little bit about you. How long you've been here? How long you've been doing this?
I've been here since day one, even before we really started treatment.
And that is how long?
And that's
4 weeks, 5 weeks?
About 5, 6 weeks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was extremely excited and honored by Jacqueline to be asked to do this.
Right.
I've been seeing chemically dependent patients for 20+ years.
So that's your specialty, even though you're MD.
I'm an internist, but I'm a specialist in addiction medicine,
Okay,
and
okay.
like many of us that are specialists here, our lives have been touched either personally or family-wise with this devastating disease.
Right. Is there any signs that people can look at, regardless if it's illegal drugs or if it's pharmaceutical drugs, that they can look at that they're coping now and they're using this to cope? Is there any signs that they could look at that would possibly help them to understand and realize, this is getting out of control?
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. In most families, you'll find that the family is sick to begin with.
So there's brokenness
in the home.
Okay.
In the home.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a family disease, no doubt about it.
So that's one sign, is if you have a family history of alcoholism or brokenness, that's one sign. What are some of the other signs, or is there any signs?
You'll see the background of most females we treat. There's a trail of guilt, shame, conscience, broken hearts, trauma, abuse, and these are all the roots of where the disease comes from. Okay. So it's disease of conscience, heart, soul. You're just not born addicted.
Is there a difference in the way you evaluate and treat someone come in that is just coming on their own, or someone who comes in under the court system?
There was a study not too long ago about who did better, the patients that were told they had to, or the patients that wanted to.
That's what I'm getting at, Dr. Center. That's what I'm getting at. How do you determine the difference, or the have from the have to and the want tos?
The way I see it, the sicker they are, the more you have to drag them by their hair or their feet into treatment, and they don't want treatment when they get far enough along. And the ones that usually end up in jail or prisons or getting those kinds of consequences, they actually don't want help, and they don't know they need help. They're in so much denial.
Yeah.
And it's a part of a moral recognition or process. Their conscience is so dulled by then that they don't even sometimes want help.
I know you've got to go. It has been such a pleasure, but I've got to ask you, Dr. Center, is the patients that come here, I know you all have not been here long enough to actually get some numbers, but you have chose to come here because you could have went to any of the other drug rehabilitation facilities. What is the difference in Brookhaven than some of the other places that made you choose to come here?
I've been through the last 20 years many of the different modalities and concepts, from individual therapy, psychiatric model, medical model, Alcoholics Anonymous, and the 12-step model. And there's different types of models for treating this. But what excited me here is what we call the integrated model, meaning we bring all other alternative treatments, non-addictive treatments here. Chinese medicine, acupuncture, yoga, massage therapy, equine therapy.
A variety.
A variety.
Because
They all
what works
come
for
to
me
bear.
might not work for somebody else.
Exactly. In this type of setting, and it's the reason I came because it's an educational process for me, and I love to learn what else might be beneficial to treat this, because it's such a devastating disease, So anything that offers alternative or improved outcomes, I'm all for.
Well, Dr. Center, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure.
It's been
Thank
a pleasure.
you. I know you're going to do great work. I know a lot of lives, women's lives in this community and the surrounding county will change. And it is going to be a direct result of, like you said, doctors like you and the other great staff here at Brookhaven's retreat that's going to make the difference. Thank you, Dr. Center.
Thank you for having me.
I would like to thank Dr. Centers with the Brookhaven Retreat in Seymour. When we come back, I will be interviewing the founder of the Brookhaven Retreat, Jacqueline. Welcome back. Here's our conversation with the founder of the Brookhaven's Retreat, Jacqueline. Jacqueline, it is such an honor and a privilege to be over in this beautiful facility, the Brookhaven Retreat, and that's what it is. We're doing this month here with the 2 Blessed to be Stressed television show a series. We're starting a series on addiction of all kinds, and it's such a privilege to be able to have you, Miss Jacqueline Dawes. Tell us about Miss Jacqueline.
Well, Marla, I had lived in Britain my whole life, although I was born in the United States.
I can't tell by that accent.
That's true. And I had a happy life, a successful life, professionally very successful. I was a property developer in Scotland and had assisted living facilities for older people. And my passion was looking after these people, and I loved them. And had done very, very well. The self-made person from nothing. And in 1998, my 18-year-old daughter, Julia, went out with some friends and had a first use of ecstasy, and we're still not sure of the circumstances under which it happened. She came home, and that morning she died in my arms, and then I was just totally dysfunctional and black.
Jacqueline, you were talking about a deep, dark hole and the passion that you were inspired to do in this beautiful facility here at Brookhaven. Talk to me about what inspired you to build this beautiful facility.
I wanted a place that where women were in that terrible struggle and their families just didn't know where to turn, that they could come to a place that was safe. Firstly, their safety.
Yeah.
And a place where they weren't being judged, they weren't being stigmatized, they weren't being less than everybody else. That people could hear their words, but could hear their feelings, could hear their hearts, could sense the desperation. So when they came in, they were embraced by love. They were embraced by concern. They were allowed to be just whatever they were, and we would meet them on their level. Not the program's level, but their level, to work with them to make a connection that they could believe that they were safe now, and that they could have hope, and that they could begin to see a glimmer of light, because the whole light doesn't become clear straight away.
What do they do here?
This is where they meet and talk as a community, and where they can sometimes watch particular programs that they want to watch, and to just talk about issues amongst themselves, and just relax. And so this is an area where it's kind of like a gathering room, just a gathering room. We call it our close care area because here people are having 24-hour care if they're detoxing. We have a full medical detox. Our nurses are based in this station here, and our other physicians work closely with the nurses in conducting that part of the healthcare program. And so everybody that's here we know is very needy and needing a lot of support, both medically, emotionally, physically, and so we can see them all the time. Can I take you to show you one of the rooms that they would go to begin with?
We need to push it. Jacqueline, now these are the rooms that patients,
we actually call them clients, and these are rooms that we designed in the close care where people will be together, and we try and make it very comfortable for them. We don't want any feeling of institution. We want them to have their own wardrobes. They're all ensuite bathrooms. Actually, all the windows have a great view so they can settle in, but they're very close to the nursing, but yet there isn't that hospital clinkety-clank going on that is necessary in a hospital facility. We want them to feel that this is a haven for them, that this is safe, and that they can unpack their things and they can be here and sense relief, a relief that they're somewhere that is safe and going to treat them as a very special human being. So that's why we do a 120-day program, 160 days. The program is called Always Wear Your Poncho, and that was inspired.
I like that. Say that again.
Always Wear Your Poncho.
I love that.
This was inspired by Martha Stewart. When she came out of jail, she wore a poncho for a month on TV.
I remember that.
And when I watched her, it said to me, you know, I don't know why I had to do this. I don't know how I got wrong advice. I don't know how this all happened, but I'm wearing my poncho now and no one's going to get me again. And that's what we feel with our clients. The Poncho program is a pyramid program of every aspect of a person's life that has to be looked at, that no one can ever get them again, starting with medical help, family help, spiritual help, financial help, career help,
the total man.
And then all the appendages. What are your hobbies? Where do you meet? How do you hang out? What ambitions that you never fulfilled? Remember when you were 6 and what you wanted to be. And the poncho is designed that at the end, when they graduate, they have the poncho with Brookhaven written on it, but the discharge program is designed to cover every aspect of their life and their plan for the next part of the journey.
This month particularly, we're talking about drug addiction. We're doing a series on addictions, regardless of what the addiction is. What would you, as a person who has personally been affected by drugs and has caused you this passion to start this facility, what would you say the root of all addictions?
I believe that it starts with emotional breakage that may have happened in childhood at age 5, at 7, at 20. There's no particular time, but then a series of emotional breakages leads to coping skills, and eventually with addiction they cope with working, they cope with using substance, they cope with shopping, they cope with gambling. It's a coping skill that becomes more and more dangerous as it progresses and eventually leads to incarceration or death. What I would love to see is people, when they know that they're beginning to use one of these addictions to cope, is to get help them to prevent. If one of their family or friends sees that this is not just medical pain use of pills, that this is just not normal social drinking, that this is just not normal working habits, that this is just not normal, shopping habits, to say, before it gets to where they've called bottomed out, that they are at the bottom, to say, you know what, I don't really know what's going on, but I need to get help, because prevention would help so much in their emotional growth, rather than experiencing all that destruction and that total bottoming out.
It has been wonderful, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Marla.
It is such a pleasure and a privilege to have interviewed you, and I know that this place is going to be an asset to our community and the surrounding communities. Thank you, darling.
And likewise.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it. I would like to thank all of our guests who've been on our show this week. It has been such a delight to have Shirley Gribble from Clinton, Tennessee, Dr. Centers, and Jacqueline from the Brookhaven Retreat. This week, like usual, we have a word of wisdom for you. Remember, your appetites today, whatever they might be, will control your destiny tomorrow. In spite of what you're going through this day or that you might encounter next week, in spite of all of the matter, you are too blessed to be stressed. We'll see you next week.